Okay, my dudes, I think we are live here, and I know we are a little bit later tonight than we usually are. I apologize for that. I had to rush back from across town. I went to eat with my family. And so now I am scrambling to put these drafts together because I promised y'all we are getting together at least, at the minimum, 2 live drafts every single night leading up until the football season. And I know a lot of people are asking, well, Mason, why are you drafting so early? And it's because I am confident in my ability to come out here and beat y'all in these drafts. And I think there's no better way that you can actually continue to become a better drafter if you're practicing for your big draft, for your main league that you're going to be having during the preseason. So what we are going to be doing is to continue hit out these underdog fantasy drafts. Now, guys, if you have yet to join us with a draft on Underdog, I highly advise you doing so. And what is great for everybody in this channel, and so many people have already taken advantage of it, is Underdog and the Fantasy Flock Network have actually partnered together for the 2021 season. And what they're doing is they're giving $25 for everybody that uses promo code FLOCK directly to you. So if you deposit $10 on Underdog and you use promo code FLOCK, you get to draft with me live on a stream. You get a free $25. And if you shoot me a DM letting me know that you did that with your email address to confirm, then you get our 2021 Fantasy Football Draft Guide for free. So this is going to be very exciting. And like I said, guys, what we are going to be doing here is we are going to be making sure that all of these drafts, the first one is going to be uploaded on Patreon. So I just sent that link out on Patreon. I'll show y'all that right here. Okay, so we just sent the link out on Patreon. We are going to be getting that full. Then we'll switch this over to the draft. I'm sure that people on Patreon are going to fill this very fast. Y'all are going to see there. But before we do that, actually, what I really need to do is I need to come over. I need to check the live chat to make sure that we sound okay. Let me send out a notification on Discord. And then after this first mock draft that we fill through Patreon, then I'm going to be filling it in the general chat for everybody who's used promo code FLOCK that's wanted to come out to one of these drafts. And sadly, guys, I'm sorry, we're not going to be doing another $100 fantasy draft tonight. I just think that we need to continue to allow as many people to join these as possible. So tonight, we're going to be getting some practice in. Tonight, let's treat it more so as a mock draft because these are going to be $5 drafts instead. So it looks like this has filled, and let me just pull it up, and we are going to be drafting at the 104, okay? So we have yet to draft at the 104 so far this season. And also, guys, if you've came out to the live stream this early, first off, thank you so much for coming out to the stream. And secondly, go down there, drop that like. It helps us out a ton. Let me pull up the stream real quick. Let's close out Patreon. That way we can just focus in on this draft. And okay, so it looks like we have a ton of people out here. Thank you so much, guys. And I will send out the code and the link to Underdog if anybody wants to come out to our next mock draft. Okay, so we just sent that out. And like I said, guys, if y'all go make that deposit, just stick around until we get done with this mock draft. Then what I'll do is I'll go through and I'll send out the link for our private draft. Afterwards, don't go joining any drafts in the lobby because I'm not going to be in a public draft. These are all private drafts for the subscribers of this channel. Okay, so now at the 104, we are going to be put in a spot where our rankings are really going to be tested. I'm pretty sure we're going to be going with one player in particular. I'm sure that the majority of y'all know exactly who we are going with. Okay, so we have a ton of questions, and we already have almost 50 likes on the live stream. Thank you, my dudes. We are on the clock at the 104. I know we were planning on going with Devonta Adams. I'm surprised to see it, but Alvin Kamara does fall to us. I understand that Alvin Kamara does have his concerns. I mean, if you actually have Taysom Hill as the starting quarterback for the New Orleans Saints this upcoming season, it's not going to be pretty for Alvin Kamara because you're going to be expecting the usage in the passing game, which is what makes Alvin Kamara so elite in fantasy. That's going to take a dip down. But regardless, I think when you have the opportunity to draft Alvin Kamara at the 104, you have to do it. In my opinion, he's the clear 103. Then I actually prefer both Alvin Kamara and Devonta Adams over Derrick Henry. We're very rarely going to be drafting Derrick Henry this year. Okay, so yeah, it looks like we have a bunch of people spamming the chat saying Kamara. Yeah, y'all know we were going with Alvin Kamara. And thank you, everybody who's come out. Let me switch it over to the draft board. Let me know what y'all kind of prefer seeing at this point. We have someone coming out, subscribing to the channel. I'll read who that is in 1 second. Let me slide this down. Just have to optimize this for the stream. Okay, so Emma subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much. Carter actually subscribing right before that. And it looks like we have a running back run to start this draft. Like I said, if we didn't get Alvin Kamara at the 104, we would have been taking Devonta Adams there instead. So it's interesting to see Saquon Barkley, Ezekiel Elliott, and Jonathan Taylor all go directly after we take Kamara. And here with Jonathan Taylor, I can't agree with that selection when you actually have Carson Wentz and the uncertainty around that foot injury. So Devonta Adams going at the 108. I think that's a fantastic pick. Let me know if y'all think I'm actually overrating Devonta Adams this upcoming year, but I love Adams. Okay, so Nicholas says, can you send me the draft guide? I messaged you on Twitter. I signed up on Underdog with promo code FLOCK. Looking forward to your draft, Mason. I promise you, if you message me on Twitter, my man, I'm 100% sending you that guide. I've been sending it out literally like 30 minutes after DMs. If you did DM me at about 5 p.m. or right before that, I most likely haven't had a chance to see your DM because, like I said, I had to go across town to meet my family for dinner, and we were there way too late. That's why I'm live drafting this at 9:40. But after this stream, I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of people in this stream that use promo code FLOCK signing up for Underdog, and they get that draft guide. So I'll be checking Twitter, I'll be checking Instagram, I'll be checking Discord, I'll be checking Patreon, and I'll be sending out all those 2021 draft guides. Okay, so Scoop says he doesn't like our Alvin Kamara pick because Taysom Hill is going to be the starting quarterback. I know, guys. I understand that Alvin Kamara definitely falling in fantasy drafts, but he was a clear league winner last year. I think based on the fact that you're actually seeing him as really the only player that can earn targets in the New Orleans Saints offense, I'm going to be fine with Kamara at the 104. I'm going to be happy about Kamara at the 104. Okay, so let's go through. Okay, Darren Waller goes at the 206. So let's kind of pull this up. Like I said, we have not drafted from the 104 yet this offseason. Okay, so Joe Mixon at the 207. Okay, so Clyde Edwards-Helaire, that was going to be our pick, goes right before us. Now here, honestly, I don't want to take Najee Harris, but clearly he's the best player available in a tier. I think we have to go Harris. It's gross. He's going to get so many touches. We're going to go Najee Harris, mainly because this is best ball, and we're looking at it as a spot where if we start RB, we're going to be in a position where we can really hammer in wide receivers in rounds 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And also, if you're looking at running back versus wide receiver there, I'm not going to say what wide receiver I would prefer, given the fact that I'm hoping he falls back to us in the third, but we're going to have elite wide receiver options available to us at the 304, where at running back, we're just going to be looking at DeAndre Swift, or we're going to be looking at J.K. Dobbins, and that's a clear tier behind Najee Harris for me. So possibly I can hear an argument to be made to draft a wide receiver there, and maybe you would prefer having an A.J. Brown, a DK Metcalf, a Justin Jefferson over Najee Harris. But I think if you look at the 2v2 and I tell you, hey, we can either have A.J. Brown and DeAndre Swift, or we can have Najee Harris and Keenan Allen, I think you're probably going to pick the Najee Harris side there. Okay. So I see some people saying they can't find our draft in the Underdog setting. Guys, like I said, so what I want you all to do is go use promo code FLOCK on Underdog, get ready, and then whenever we're starting our second draft for tonight, I'm going to be sending it out in the live chat. I'm going to go, here's our second draft. Here's our private draft. I will specify exactly what it is, and I'll be screaming it on the live stream. It'll be after this one's done. I'm going to continue to have that automated message go in the live chat saying, hey, use promo code FLOCK on Underdog, get a free $25, get our 2021 draft guide, just so everybody has that set up and are ready to be in future drafts with us. Because if you don't set that up right now, you're not going to get into future drafts. It's going to be too slow. So yeah, I mean, we get Keenan Allen at the 304. We are going to be going with Keenan there quite easily. So our start is going to be Alvin Kamara, Najee Harris, and Keenan Allen. And this is what I said earlier. I mean, essentially, if we would have passed on Najee Harris in the second, we would have most likely taken an A.J. Brown or a DK Metcalf instead. And would you prefer having DK Metcalf and J.K. Dobbins, because Dobbins would have been the best available running back at the 304, or would you prefer having Najee Harris and Keenan Allen? I definitely think we prefer having the combination of Najee Harris and Keenan Allen. So I think that pick is honestly quite easy. Okay. Nicholas says, you want Woods. We all know you want Woods. Yeah, but the thing is, I'm going to be able to get Robert Woods a lot in the late third in these drafts, and I'm going to be drafting every single night leading up until the season. So, I mean, I think that we would rather just wait and take Robert Woods in the late third. While I love Keenan Allen at the same time, we can get Keenan Allen at the 304. Now, McLaurin does go at the 306, and I know I am on record as a Terry McLaurin hater. And the reason I'm on record as a Terry McLaurin hater is I think that it's ridiculous for him to be drafted over Allen Robinson, over Keenan Allen, over CeeDee Lamb, which he was at the beginning of this offseason. And I was screaming how bad of a draft pick that was. Now that's corrected slightly. You've seen Terry McLaurin dip down to where no longer he's going at the 2-3 turn, and instead he's a mid-third round selection. And there I think it's a lot better to actually draft Terry McLaurin. Don't know if I'm going to be doing a lot of it, but I'm glad that his price has fallen because I think he is priced more appropriately right about now. Okay, Swizzy says Allen is on the COVID list. Yes, I don't want to sound like an ass or anything, but honestly, I'm not too concerned with Allen being on the COVID list. Okay, John said, is this your only draft for tonight? No, we're going to get another draft going after this. Just hold with us. I mean, come through, watch this draft, hang out to the next one, and then we'll get that going in the stream. Dante coming out with a donation says, can't join chat draft. App only shows lobby screen. Yes, sir. I think we already explained this, but I'm going to be going through and I will say, guys, here's our private draft. When you see the lobby screen, that's just to ensure that you've actually signed up for Underdog with promo code FLOCK and you are ready to get in our next draft because we're going to send it out in the live chat and it's probably going to get filled in about 10 seconds. So if you don't sign up with promo code FLOCK, get the free $25, get our 2021 draft guide. Then if you sign up afterwards, so you wait until I set the private draft out and you're getting your ID information because obviously they have to confirm your identity because you can't be going through and actually just gambling with, I don't want to say that's a poor choice of words, but you can't be drafting as a random person and you have to be in the right state. They have to verify you at first. So, I mean, you don't want to wait until we send out our private draft because if you wait till you send out our private draft, I mean, it's going to be a 0% chance that you actually get in. Okay, still pissed that I've not gotten the 101 yet. I mean, starting off Christian McCaffrey, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, literally a cheat code that we have not gotten to take advantage of yet, but I promise you we're going to. Okay, so Mike says he prefers Keenan over Allen Robinson over CeeDee Lamb. I think that we actually prefer CeeDee Lamb over Allen Robinson, but yeah, Keenan Allen is close to the top of the list for me there. Now Robert Woods at the 308. Okay, so Hoop State starts wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver. Going to be interesting to see how this draft shapes out. I definitely want to be making sure that we are following this one. And guys, if you have yet to already, please go down there, drop a like on the live stream, subscribe to the channel. What I actually need to do, because it's very hard for me to follow along with this live chat, is I need to switch this live chat over to where it's only for subscribers. Let me do that real quick so I can make sure that we are being able to at least manage the chat effectively, because if I'm just reading a million messages going through, I'm never going to be able to reply to all of them. Okay, so I think we switched it to subscribers only. Hopefully that worked. Now let's go back and let's see what we have available to us. Okay, so at the 409, we have a lot of flexibility. I mean, after we start 2 running backs and a wide receiver, I don't feel the need to reach on a running back here. Now, there are 3 players that I'm going to be happy if they fall back to us. So let's just see what we actually get at the 409. And I think we just kind of sit on our hands for the time being. Okay, so Cooper Kupp, definitely my favorite player in that tier. I was really hoping that we were going to get Cooper Kupp to us. Clearly it doesn't happen, but it is what it is. We'll move on. We'll figure it out after that. Jacob says, would you take Justin Herbert over Josh Allen? No, even with the Keenan Allen stack, I'm not going to be reaching on Justin Herbert that far. Okay, so now I think what we are actually going to look to do is we're going to look to take Miles Sanders here at the end of the 4th round. So we're going to start this draft off with Alvin Kamara, Najee Harris, and Miles Sanders. And in a best ball league, I think that this is going to be a very intriguing start, especially if we can go through and we can get another running back that we're confident about, and we only have to start this draft with 5 running backs. And now Josh Jacobs does go off the draft board at the 410. Okay, Let Go says, how do you get free money? I mean, by using promo code FLOCK on Underdog. And also, guys, please let me know your opinion on this, because I've been crowdsourcing this to everybody. I've been asking people on Patreon. I've even asked my own family, trying to figure out some kind of giveaway I can do. Let's try to do something special. If we hit 10,000 signups on Underdog with promo code FLOCK this year, this live stream could potentially get 10,000 views this month. So that should be really easy, considering we're doing an entire month of live stream. So just if 5% of the people go through, take advantage of getting a free $25, because Underdog needs signups so they can go to their board meeting and they can say, hey, look how many active users we have. So they're paying you to sign up. Please take advantage. If we hit 10,000, I'm either going to do a 24-hour live stream. I'm going to go to a Tampa Bay Buccaneers game in a custom flock uniform. Like, I'll go through and how you kind of see the people at Chuck E. Cheese, like in a big mouse costume or something. I'll get the same thing for our flock mascot, and I'll go to a Tampa Bay Bucks game. We'll host a Tampa meetup directly after where we can go through and we can hang out with everybody, and I'll bring the costume. So please, guys, let me know what y'all are thinking in terms of just things that I can do to kind of incentivize signups. Okay, but now I don't love this pick. I don't like Deontay Johnson that much as a fantasy asset, but if we were going to be able to get him here close to like wide receiver 30, I think that we actually kind of have to when we start this draft, 3 running backs and a wide receiver. So we're going to take Deontay Johnson here at the 504. I definitely wanted to see Travis Etienne falling to us. If we would have gotten Travis Etienne, that would have put us in a very intriguing spot where we maybe wouldn't have even had to decide to take another running back in the entire draft. But yeah, we're going to go with Deontay Johnson there at the 504. Okay, so Derek says, this is for either the dog's vet bill or your defense fund in case you go to jail. Jay Tucker on Fido again. I have no idea what that means, my man. I have no idea what that means. I don't know if that's like an underdog pun, but it is what it is. Eric says, do you play in NFFC or FFPC? My man, no, I am actually playing exclusively on Underdog in 2021. We're playing on Sleeper for our Dynasty Leagues over there on Patreon. But no, I'm playing on Underdog, my dude. Steven says, bruh, I just got out of a 7-hour choir rehearsal. I don't even know what to say to that. I can't imagine sitting there and singing for 7 hours. Okay, so Javonte Williams, Darrell Henderson goes off in the 5th round. Mike Davis. Okay, so it looks like those running backs are drying up. Okay, so Hoop State does get Darrell Henderson as his running back 1 after going with 4 wide receivers. Going to be interesting to see what he actually does coming back in the 6th round. Steven says he's saying you neglect your dog from last night when he was... Okay, guys, I will let y'all know. I live in an apartment complex on the 5th story with, floor to ceiling windows. So my dog's favorite thing on the planet is to just stare out the window, and I let her stare out the window all day. She loves it. And last night, I wasn't neglecting her because she was hungry. I wasn't neglecting her or anything like that. She was staring out the window, saw a dog walk by and was barking, and I went in the other room and yelled at her for it. It's not like she was barking at me because she needed food or something. Oh, Jose says, why Underdog in your opinion? Okay, Underdog, in my opinion, is definitely the best way to draft if you were coming through and you were preparing to become a better fantasy football player. Because a big thing is if you make the commitment where you go, okay, I'm going to just jump into 10 drafts this year. And you jump into 10 drafts. At the end of it, yes, you'll have a decent idea how drafts are going to go, but you're going to have so many actual leagues that you have to manage through the course of the season with waivers, with you going through and also making trades. And that's not ideal for you to really understand how drafts are going to be in 2021. And what's even worse than that, and what I hate to see, the worst thing that I ever see is people sending me on Patreon a screenshot going, hey Mason, this is a draft that I did last night. Let me know your thoughts on it. And I'm looking at it. I'm going, my man, this doesn't look like a real draft at all. Where did you do this? Who did you draft with? And they tell me, oh, I used site X and I just went up against their machine. And I'm sitting here going, man, I have played in hundreds of fantasy drafts already this offseason. I've never seen a draft look like that. You're never going to see a real draft look like that. So you don't get better by mock drafting against machines. You have to get in real drafts. You have to understand how a draft board's actually going to function. And you can go through, look at positional tiers. And at the same time, you can break it down with what stacks you're targeting. So I think Underdog is so good because it allows you to go and get that experience and become a much better fantasy player. And at the same time, you can just do it at a much higher volume because how the site is set up. Okay, so now here at the 609, I think in a managed league, we definitely end up going Michael Thomas here. But in a best ball format, we're actually going to end up going with Odell Beckham Jr. Now, Odell, yes, he's going to provide us a bunch of spike weeks, and you're going to see a lot of weeks where Odell Beckham Jr. is actually going to go and just put up a complete dud, where maybe he only drops 6 points in a given week. But we know Odell has a good 30-point week in him, and that's going to make it into our starting lineup. Now, I don't love this selection, but at the end of the 6th round, as our wide receiver 3, when we already have 3 running backs we can rely on, I definitely do like it. If we would have had CeeDee Lamb in the 3rd round, or in Amari Cooper in the 4th round, our pick would have been Dak Prescott there, but I'm not going to reach on a premium quarterback when we're not completing a stack. So yeah, Odell Beckham Jr. is going to be our selection there at the 609, even though I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of it. Okay, guys, please, if you have not already, go down there, drop a like on the live stream. Let's get this stream over 100 likes. Okay, Alex says, what's your favorite draft spot to be picking at? Honestly, the 101. And I know it's a boring answer, but if you're picking at the 101, you actually have the luxury of going out, getting Christian McCaffrey, then slamming in wide receivers rounds 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can just build an anchor running back strategy. You don't have to worry about running back 2. So yeah, I love picking at the 101. The draft board just falls so nice to you every single time. I know Odell Beckham Jr. is not the best pick here, guys, but keep in mind, this is a league where you don't submit your starting lineup. I mean, just your best players that week get slid in. So Odell and his spike weeks, he's very similar to Tyler Lockett when you don't necessarily know when he's going to drop that 40-point week, but when he does, we're going to be able to take advantage here. Okay, yeah, Mike says Odell Beckham Jr. has much more value in best ball. My man Mike in the chat backing us up, showing us what is up. Now, Trey Sermon goes at the 702. And a big thing is, as well, if we were not playing in best ball, I would really like the idea of drafting Michael Thomas here, because we know that with Michael Thomas, yes, you're going to be in a tough spot at the beginning of the season, but what you can do is you can go through and near the end of the year during your playoff stretch, you can start Michael Thomas. Best ball doesn't necessarily work like that. You need points throughout the entire year. Here we're going to get Devonta Smith in the 7th round. With Jerry Jeudy, yes, I think that he is actually a better wide receiver than Devonta Smith, but the difference is Smith is playing in an offense where he's not competing for targets with anybody at all, and with Jerry Jeudy, he's playing in an offense where he has Cortland Sutton, Noah Fant, KJ Hamler, Tim Patrick, Javonte Williams. I mean, there are so many guys that you're going to be looking at, and also by taking Smith there, pairing him with Miles Sanders, we set ourselves up for a Philadelphia Eagles stack later on in the draft. Yes, it's a lot harder to stream and actually complete that stack because, of course, people are going to be gunning for us. But Devonta Smith, I do like that selection there at the 704. Okay, Isaiah says, if you had to take a quarterback in the first round, who would it be? My man, I would never take a quarterback in the first round in a regular league that you have access to the waiver wire. That's a one quarterback format. Of course, if you had to, I mean, I'm taking Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is my quarterback 2. I'm sorry, quarterback 1, but quarterback 2 is where it gets a little bit more interesting because everybody has Mahomes at quarterback 1. And in a 4-point passing touchdown league where rushing is at a premium, I'm actually going to be having Lamar Jackson as our quarterback 2 this year. Okay. So Thomas coming out, subscribe. Theo also subscribing a few minutes ago. Trevor subscribing during this live stream as well. Thank you all so much for joining the flock, my dudes. Okay, Eric says, Michael was never right last year. Why are you confident he can be healthy at some point this season? My man, it's more so about taking a risk and reward approach. And with Michael Thomas, I would think that if you're getting him in the 7th round of a standard league where you can go through, you actually submit your own starting lineup. And at the end of the day, what really matters is that playoff production. It's more so we have seen Michael Thomas just a year ago when he was healthy be the quarterback 1 overall. So if you're getting him in the 7th, 8th round, I think the risk actually meets the reward there. So I would be willing to take Michael Thomas in that format. Like I said, here it's a little bit different. So we did end up passing on him for our wide receiver 4 in Devonta Smith, but it's all about knowing your league. Steven says, Mason, do you watch UFC? Yes, I watch UFC, like the highlights on YouTube at the gym, just because it hypes me up. And I go, okay, Mason, yes, you are never going to be able to get in a fight. You would get the crap beat out of you. But I mean, look at these guys that can. Let's try to get some energy going here. So I'll watch the highlights in the gym. I don't know much about UFC at all. I would love to learn though, because I mean, I think that could easily be the future of sports. Okay. So Rodgers at the 805. Quarterbacks went very early in this draft. That is intriguing. I mean, you have Herbert and Joe Burrow going here at the 6-7 turn. Now, this is going to be completing a stack with T. Higgins. So maybe that's why he decided to go out there and reach on Joe Burrow a little bit. And also, when you're picking at the end, it's really hard to say that a pick is actually a reach just because you're going to have so many selections between your next 2 that you kind of just have to go out there and get your guy. Okay, so now let's switch this over, try to figure out who we're going to go with. And also, I figured out that we need to get better at this live stream. We need to get better at this setup, my dudes. I know we do. But I figured out we can move this here so y'all can see my team. Oh, okay. Hopefully we remember to do that from now on, because I think that definitely probably makes the stream a little bit better. And if you go through, you check out our team right now, I actually really like how we've been able to manage the bye weeks. Week 7 looks like it's going to be bad for us with Najee Harris, Keenan Allen, and Deontay Johnson, but 3 players, not necessarily the end of the world. And here we are going to get Will Fuller. I love getting Will Fuller in a best ball league, especially when you actually have Devontae Booker there. Okay, so Will Fuller, actually a foot injury 6 hours ago. Okay, so I think that we are actually fine drafting Will Fuller. I think that's the same injury that was reported a long time ago in camp. Okay, so let's move this over, set this up. Let me know if Will Fuller's injury is a little more serious than I thought. Like I said, guys, earlier today I was at dinner with my family, so maybe I missed something. Please let me know in the live chat. Okay, so Brandon Cooks at the 810. Michael Thomas did go at the 808. I think we probably would have taken Michael Thomas if Will Fuller went here, and instead we are looking at Michael Thomas first, Brandon Cooks. Steven says, do you think Cam Akers could be a steal next year if he's going towards the end of the draft? Next year, I really want to be basing our Cam Akers evaluation a lot from what we see with both O.J. Howard and Marlon Mack this year, who are coming back from torn Achilles. Okay, so now it looks like we have a big wide receiver run happening. Thank God we get some wide receivers in this draft where we get Keenan Allen, Deontay Johnson, Odell, Devonta Smith, Will Fuller. So we have taken 5 wide receivers where we don't need to continue to slam them in. We still need some quarterbacks. We need some tight ends. So possibly we look to pivot over and get some of that value upcoming. But yeah, we definitely had to go get some of those wide receivers before they were gone. Okay, so let's slide this over so y'all can see my team. Let's look at who we're going to be looking at. Okay, Jalen Hurts, the perfect guy falling to us. Now, you get Jalen Hurts. We get that stack with Miles Sanders. We get that stack with Devonta Smith. I mean, this draft has been perfect so far for us. Literally, I could not have asked for a better start than what we've had. Okay, cue the plug. Says, Mason scared for me to join the next draft. My man, I would be happy to get you in this next draft. I mean, I want to be drafting with as many of y'all as possible, which is why, not only because Underdog decided to give everybody who signed up for free $25, they also decided to give everybody our 2021 draft guide. But the main reason I was excited about that partnership is because this is going to allow me to draft with pretty much every member of the flock that subscribe to this channel, because we're going to be doing this every night. We're probably going to be kicking off hundreds and hundreds of drafts, and we get those signups up there where we're looking like we may get close to 10,000. We're going to do a 24. How about this? Let me know if y'all like these ideas, because if y'all like these ideas, I'm not going to be pumping them out because obviously it'd be a ton of work for me. But if we get to 10,000 likes, how about I don't only do a 24-hour live stream? I'm sorry, not 10,000 likes, 10,000 signups on Underdog with promo code FLOCK. I won't only do a 24-hour live stream where I fill every single draft through the YouTube chat. I'm sure that nobody is going to be out there 24 hours with me, but you can get in as many drafts as you possibly would like. And at the same time, I will go through, I'll get that custom flock costume made, go to a Tampa Bay Buccaneers game in it. We'll do both of them. Let me know if y'all like those ideas, because of course I'm not going to do it if nobody likes it. But if y'all do like it, let me know in the live chat right now and we can get that going just as a little promo to get people to utilize this deal, get our draft guide, get their free $25 with promo code FLOCK. And if we do a 24-hour draft, I mean, so many people are going to be able to draft with us. Nicholas says, hey, Mason, just joined the Patreon today. Do you send me the rankings through your email? My man, if you joined Patreon in the past 5 hours, I'm very sorry that I've not been able to check those DMs so far. I'm going to check those directly after we get out of the live stream. What I will say is all our rankings and our tiers, as well as our draft guide, all the information is actually on the pinned post on Patreon. We have our Dynasty rankings. We have our 2021 rankings. I want to put our Underdog rankings out there. I just want to make sure that we're comfortable with where they are at, because obviously best ball changes a ton with it. So I'm going to wait a little bit until we put those out, but that will be there as well. So go to the pinned post on our page on Patreon. Okay, so Brad says, flock costume is a good idea. Nicholas says, why did you move to Tampa? Because I am now a YouTuber and my family lives here, so I can live anywhere I want. Okay, Scientific Collectible says, Mason, answer Luke. He has asked a million times. Okay, Luke says, Mason, you say in your draft guide to make sure you draft top 3 tight ends, but you never draft them. My man, I understand that we really want to be targeting those top 3 tight ends, but we haven't really fallen in a range where we can go out there and do so. We're here. I mean, if we would have had a Darren Waller fall to us at the 209, I would have loved that. If we would have had a George Kittle fall to us at the 304, that would have been great as well. I mean, we've just been put in a really difficult spot where, I mean, people are drafting those elite tight ends above ADP when they're in drafts with us. Okay, so now we are going to be back on the clock. And after going with so many running backs and wide receivers early on, I think we're actually going to have another easy decision here. We're going to be hopefully getting, Cheeky Hobson has not drafted a quarterback yet. Maybe he takes our man Matthew Stafford. But Matthew Stafford, in my opinion, is such an easy pick here. He goes Traquan Smith. So yeah, we're going to get Matthew Stafford as our quarterback too. In a best ball league, I definitely want to make sure that we have multiple quarterbacks that we can rely on for all 16 weeks. Matthew Stafford fits that mold. And when you draft both Jalen Hurts and Matthew Stafford in the 9th and 10th round, honestly, I may not be drafting a third quarterback in this draft. Maybe we can save one of those spots for tight end because we have definitely pushed down the tight end position way further than we should have. So yeah, I think that we possibly look to pivot over. We get some tight ends coming up here sometime soon, but it's mainly going to depend on what gets left to us. Okay, so Marlo says, stop drafting Odell Beckham Jr. My man, he says James Conner should be off the board by now. My man, have you had a chance to look at the James Conner contract? Have you checked out that he's only making $1.75 million this year? If you actually stack him up against other veteran running backs, his contract really signifies that he's more so a player that is not necessarily profiling to be a starter in Arizona, but more so the backup to, I don't want to say it, but Chase Edmonds, someone who can catch passes, who's been there for a very long time. So actually, I understand the appeal in James Conner, and I've drafted him in drafts before this offseason, but I don't want to act like he is some massive value. I mean, James Conner maybe is actually already gone in this draft, but we can look at that in a second because we are on the clock here. So I think that, I mean, Devontae Parker obviously on the PUP. We already took Will Fuller. We go through here. Wide receivers are going to dry up very soon. Maybe I am not looking in enough with that Devontae Parker injury. Please let me know if I'm being very stupid there. Let me know in the live chat. That it could be a pick that was very bad at the 11:04. I will completely admit that. I think our Odell pick in the 6th, 7th round, whenever we took Odell Beckham Jr., I think that was fine based on this format. But Devontae Parker, last I read, it sounds like he's going to be ready for the start of the year. But please double check me on that and make sure I am not wrong. Okay, so let me go through. We passed 100 likes on the live stream. Thank you so much for everybody who's gone out there and dropped a like. Okay, so Matt Ryan at the 11:09. I love that Matt Ryan value compared to Ryan Fitzpatrick. I could never consider drafting Ryan Fitzpatrick at the 11:05. I don't care what stacks you have available to you. If Matt Ryan's on the board, you definitely need to be drafting Matt Ryan over Ryan Fitzpatrick in a format like this. Okay, Ishan says, shouldn't Melvin Gordon's stock be higher since he's been used as the running back 1 in training camp? Yes, I will say that with Melvin Gordon, I didn't necessarily feel the need to go out there and prioritize getting a running back in that range, given the running backs that were still available on the board compared to the fall off we were about to see at wide receiver. Devontae Parker, in my opinion, was the last guy in a clear tier where Melvin Gordon was kind of in the same range of a Kenyon Drake, Latavius Murray, Gus Edwards. So we possibly decided to just punt that off and see if we can wait a little bit longer to actually get him on our roster. But obviously, maybe we missed out on that tier of running backs. If we pull this up, you got a David Johnson and Jamal Williams. Outside of that, not interested in too many players. Where at wide receiver, I mean, I'm definitely not wanting to go out there and get someone like a T.Y. Hilton. Okay, so now we have Adam Troutman, Gerald Everett, Justin Fields. Okay, so quarterbacks are drying up soon. I'm glad we got Stafford around before where Ryan Fitzpatrick went, though. Okay, so Justin Fields at the 12:05. Okay, Ron says, are there any perks to sign up with Underdog with code FLOCK? I don't know if you're trolling me, my man, but you get some awesome perks. You get a free $25. You get a draft guide at the same time. You get my heart. You get to know that you're supporting the channel. You get a better shot at seeing me in a vlog going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game with a bunch of members of the Flock in a Flock costume, then doing a Flock meetup afterwards, possibly doing a 24-hour live stream where we just draft for 24 hours at the same time. So yeah, I would say there are a decent amount of perks. And now we are going to be, I guess, getting a triple stack of the Miami Dolphins. Okay, it looks like... Okay, we're going Mike Gesicki. Looks like he is dealing with an injury we don't necessarily know about at the moment. But, I mean, maybe it just everybody in Miami is coming down with God knows what. So we are going to be getting a triple stack. Maybe we have to draft Tua Tagovailoa as a quarterback 3 in this format. I mean, we have Will Fuller, we have Devontae Parker, we have Mike Gesicki. Maybe I'm missing something here with Miami. Please let me know what is going on. Okay, so Naheem Hines at the 12-10. But the thing is that tight end, we desperately needed a tight end. That was our first tight end that we have drafted. Okay, Christian says, why did you draft Deontay Johnson instead of Kenny Golladay? My man, I am not a fan of Kenny Golladay this year at all. I mean, if you actually go through, you look at the completed deep passes by Daniel Jones last year, I understand that Daniel Jones graded out as the #1 quarterback in deep throws by PFF. I understand that, but if you actually look at the completions, the number was really low. So he very rarely attempted those deep balls. At the same time, they have one of the worst offensive lines, if not the worst offensive line in the NFL. So he's not going to have that much time available to allow. I mean, just I don't really want to dive into it too much. Let's not focus in on that. What we need to focus in on is the fact that we need a player that's not on a a week 14 bye. So we're going to be getting Jamal Williams coming in here as a running back 4, as someone that should have an every down role on his NFL offense, even when DeAndre Swift is healthy. And if you saw DeAndre Swift injury, all of a sudden Jamal Williams jumps up into being a potential league-winning running back. So getting Jamal Williams in the 13th round is the exact prototype of a running back that I'm looking for in best ball. Kevin says, just now got the notification, but I'm here. My man, yeah, I understand that notifications have been really lacking on YouTube as of late. And a reason for that is because we're just uploading so much, where we're uploading a video every morning. We're doing a stream every night. So I can tell you this right now, unless y'all are going down and just literally obliterating the like button on these streams or these videos, this channel is not going to do the best. I mean, the channel is probably going to take a slight hit in terms of YouTube not recommending the content as much, because if you can tell, all your pretty much the biggest YouTubers that you look across any field, what they do is they do one video a day, because that's what the YouTube algorithm likes. So if you like me streaming at night as well as doing a video in the morning, I am begging you, go down there and drop that like, because that's really going to be the only thing that allows me to actually continue to do that without drastically hurting the channel. Because YouTube, I understand we've gotten so many complaints that people have not been getting notifications lately, even with their notifications on. I obviously can't talk to anybody for YouTube about it. I don't know if y'all know that about YouTube, but there's literally nobody you could talk to. So it kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Okay, so for everybody who's actually just now getting here, let me show you the draft board so far. Okay, so let's go to the very top. We actually drafted at the 104, so we started with Kamara, then we got Najee Harris, Keenan Allen, Miles Sanders. Then we slammed in wide receivers with Deontay Johnson, Odell, Devonta Smith, Will Fuller. Then we went back-to-back quarterback with Jalen Hurts, Matthew Stafford. At wide receiver, we got Devontae Parker. Tight end, we have Mike Gesicki. And at running back, we also have Jamal Williams. Okay. So let me know how bad that start is, because I know we always have some people down there in the comment section hating on us. So please let me know what y'all are thinking about that. Okay, Ryan says, can you please stop hating on the Giants offensive line? I get it. They aren't good. My man, trust me, I would love to not hate on the Giants offensive line. You know how big of a fan I am with Saquon Barkley. I would love to just pretend that it was one of the better offensive lines in the NFL. Okay, so now Dimey Brown off the board. Let's pull this up, see what we're going to be looking at. Okay, so we have some wide receivers here. We've drafted 2 quarterbacks, 4 running backs, 6 receivers, and a tight end. So Christian Kirk goes off. I think we actually need to get Rob Gronkowski here as our tight end too. I don't necessarily think that we have a choice, just because we waited so long to get Mike Gesicki. So yeah, speaking of going to a Tampa Bay Buccaneers game in a flock costume, if we get 10,000 underdog signups, let's take someone we would probably see at that game in Rob Gronkowski. Okay, Liam says, Mason, honestly, Mason, I think this is my favorite of your drafts so far. I'm happy to hear that, my man. I don't know what that says about my other drafts. But yeah, I love your feedback, guys. I know a lot of it is y'all telling me what I did wrong, and I always encourage y'all to tell me what I did wrong, given the fact that I think trying to hyper-analyze and hyper-criticize our fantasy drafts is what's actually going to continue to make us better drafters. And that's why I am encouraging everybody to draft against me in Underdog. Like, we're going to be doing $100 drafts at the same time. So if you really think that you can beat me and you can take my money, I mean, you're going to have a ton of opportunities to, but I can promise you, after I do 50 of these drafts and we see exactly how the draft board is falling in these, and I get more comfortable with live streaming through them at the same time, because I don't think y'all really understand how difficult it is to monitor a live chat, go flip back and forth for the stream and do all of that. Once we feel comfortable with that, I know there's like probably going to be 90% of people jumping into these drafts that I'm better than. So I'm willing to put up really whatever y'all are willing to, and I'll be drafting with y'all all offseason. Okay, so now it looks like we've managed our bye weeks pretty nice. I mean, we do have just so many players out on week 14 due to us stacking the Miami Dolphins. Okay, but beyond this, now, not necessarily going to be looking to go with one of those quarterbacks, possibly Brashad Perriman, but I am drafting so much Brashad Perriman just because it's a best ball league and he's going to be getting snaps. And he's off on week 9, but that's going to be the only wide receiver that we have on bye in week 9. So we are going to be going with Brashad Perriman. I believe that is what our wide receiver 7. So we are going to need to get one more running back. We're going to need to get one more tight end. But I think after that, we actually may be done in terms of drafting wide receivers. Kevin says Mason will steal your mortgage payment. My man, if you want to come out here, we're actually going to also be doing a $500 underdog draft. I just have to get that set up with them to make sure everything's cool that I do that on a stream. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be my own money, but I think that they actually need to set up a $500 context so I can create a private draft from it, because the only way I can create private drafts at the moment is from the lobby. So once we get to Monday and I'm actually going to be able to talk with people from Underdog again, I'll hop on a call with them, go, hey, I want to start running a $500 draft, just say once a month, for some people who really think that they can steal my money. Can we get that set up in the lobby? That way I can create a private draft from it, or can I create a private draft even if it's not in the lobby? Once I figure that out, then I promise you we're going to be getting a $500 underdog draft out here as well. Okay, so Tevin Coleman, Phillip Lindsay, James White, Rashad Penny. Okay, so the running backs going off the board are disgusting here. But honestly, when we were on the clock with Rob Gronkowski and Brashad Perriman available, really no running backs that we were looking at were intriguing at all. We definitely need to still get a running back, considering that we only have 5. But that's why I kind of like getting those guys at the very top in Alvin Kamara, Najee Harris, Miles Sanders. And actually, do we only have 4 running backs? Okay, we only have 4 running backs. It looks like we're going to have to actually get 2 more running backs, and I am a lot less comfortable with this situation than I previously was. Oh, gosh dang, that is embarrassing. I thought we had a better setup than we actually did. Okay, so now coming back to the draft board, we don't have any more running backs going off. We have Austin Hooper as another tight end. Okay, so Blake Jarwin at the 1604. Okay, so like I said, we definitely need to get another tight end. I believe our only 2 tight ends so far are Mike Gesicki and Rob Gronkowski. And if you wait until the 12th round to take your first tight end, you better be coming away with 3 of them. So yeah, it's not necessarily a great spot that we put ourselves in, but it's one that we kind of have to just live with. Okay, so Scenic City Collectible saying he drafted from the 111. My man, let me check out your draft real quick. So you went Kelsey, you stacked him with Mahomes in the 3rd round. You took DeAndre Hopkins in the 2nd. Wide receivers later on. You took running backs, Chris Carson, Mike Davis, A.J. Dillon, Zach Moss, Latavius Murray, J.D. I think maybe you took one too many running backs. I think that's honestly my only criticism of that team. I think maybe if I counted correctly, you took 7 running backs, and I think that we really want to be capping it at 6. But I could be wrong, and maybe I'm misreading that. Okay, so let's move that over. Let's see where we are at. Okay, so we have some more subscribers to the channel, but we'll get to that in a second. Okay, so now we need to be going with another running back. Possibly we go Darrington Evans. We need another tight end as well, but tight ends, let's actually get... We're going to get Eric Ebron here. We're going to reach on Eric Ebron, but we need a 3rd tight end, and Ebron is going to be playing a significant amount of snaps. Pat Frymuth, while yes, he's a good prospect, he shouldn't really be seeing on-the-field action in year 1. So we are going to be getting Eric Ebron as our tight end 3 in the 16th round. It is a reach, but it's one that we kind of had to make. And then here we're going to be in the 17th drafting one more running back. Actually, I guess we actually have to end this draft now. RB. Okay, so let's go through. Austin says, how do you think my 4 wide receiver start turned out? Okay, so let's go back to Hoop State real quick. Here he went Hill, Calvin Ridley, DJ Moore. Let me see what you did at running back to backfill in. Okay, so Henderson, Edmonds, Ronald Jones. Ronald Jones does give you those guaranteed touches, those guaranteed points. Honestly, I think what you kind of have to do when you start 4 wide receivers is I think that's a team that maybe you can't afford to be drafting 3 quarterbacks in that construction, and you actually need to be spending an extra spot on RB. But that's just, of course, if you're starting 4 running backs at the start. And yeah, it's an interesting build. I'll say I definitely think we need to be spending another one of those roster spots on running back. Like instead of getting Rodgers here, if instead you would have gotten one of these running backs like a Damian Harris, Raheem Mostert, or James Robinson, or actually what's the main thing that stands out is this Noah Fant selection at the 909. I think we would have preferred to see you go at a different spot with Aaron Rodgers and a different spot with Noah Fant. But if you would have gone A.J. Dillon instead of Noah Fant, that would have been a fantastic move. Okay. So now we are definitely going to need to be coming away with some of these running backs. Now, we have a very easy answer for us if he does fall to us at the 1704. Let's see if he does. And we did start this draft with Alvin Kamara, Najee Harris, Miles Sanders, and Jamal Williams. So Dan Arnold does go. So here we are going to be getting Devonta Booker, someone that hopefully can actually get touches to start the year. Maybe you see him in a spot where Saquon Barkley is playing limited snaps. And if that's going to be the case, you can't expect Devonta Booker to be in the game very often. He got a ton of guaranteed money to go to New York. And obviously, if anything were to happen to Saquon Barkley, we've seen Devonta Booker catch passes out of the backfield. We've also seen Devonta Booker just be used as a running back that can jump up in a running back 2 tier. And that's kind of what we're just looking for. We're looking for those random spike weeks for these running backs at this point. I mean, he's going in the same range of Mo Alley Cox, Damian Williams, Nico Collins. Not like any of those players are going to be completely crushing us. Okay, let's go through and see. Marlowe, I think Marlowe just focuses in on all the wrong details, to be completely honest. Okay, so Eric says, I love the channel, but I live in Las Vegas, bro. Any leagues with platforms, no restrictions. I want to be a member on Patreon. Thanks again. I mean, we are going to be doing Flock Patreon Dynasty Leagues that are hosted on Sleeper for everybody that's over in Europe or in Las Vegas, and they're not able to play on Underdog because obviously Vegas is ruled by those casinos, and they do not want to allow any kind of fantasy platform coming in, taking away any kind of sports betting from them. But it is what it is, and I'm very sorry for that, my man. I definitely will be hosting those Dynasty Patreon leagues over there on the Dynasty channel on Sleeper, but all our 2021 drafts are going to be on Underdog. Okay, so Ron says, would you give your opinions on my team if I signed up on Underdog, or is that only on Patreon? For now, my man, I'm actually just doing in-depth podcast breakdowns on teams through Patreon. Maybe that changes down the road if I get enough time, but to be completely honest, we've had so many people joining the flock over on Patreon as of late that I think that I'm really going to have to stick those podcasts just to being Patreon-only podcasts because I already have so much on my plate as is. Okay, so Nick coming out with the donation says, hey, Mason, I just traded Leonard Fournette, my running back 4, and Scotty Miller for Drew Lock, my new quarterback 4, and Alan Lazard in a start 2 running back Superflex Dynasty League. What are your thoughts? My man, first off, thank you so much for coming out and supporting the channel. And secondly, I don't necessarily like the move given the fact that I think obviously both Scotty Miller and Alan Lazard are just throw-ins, and you're essentially trading away Leonard Fournette for Drew Lock. And at this point, I would say that if you're playing in a 12-team or a 14-team Superflex League, it does make sense to go out there and get Drew Lock, someone that you could end up seeing be a starting quarterback for that foreseeable future. But if you're playing in a 10-team Superflex League, which I kind of have a feeling that this is, I could be wrong, please correct me in the live chat, then I think that the actual demand on quarterbacks, even in a Superflex League, is so low that we wouldn't necessarily be that intrigued. But yeah, please let me know in the live chat if you're playing in a 10, 12, 14-man Superflex League because that has a lot to do with it. Okay, so do we have any reports on Tariq Cohen as of late? Obviously, Tariq Cohen dealing with that injury. I don't necessarily think we can go with Cohen. Okay, so we're going to be going with the player that we are taking in the 18th round quite a bit. We're going to go with Ramondre Stevenson as someone that I think if anything were to happen to Damian Harris, he's a player that does jump up and he has automatic appeal. And at the same time, he was drafted in the 4th round this past year when they had Harris on the roster. Possibly they have a role with him in mind already, even with a healthy Najee Harris. Okay, so once we get done with this draft, I will go through, I'll show everybody the draft board. That way you can pause it. That way you can make fun of my picks. And then I'm going to be sending out the new link for our new league in the live chat for everybody who stayed with us this long and has wanted to hop into the new league. Ryan says, Mason, you went to UT, right? Yes, sir. I graduated from UT this past year. Okay, so let me actually show the full draft board real quick so everybody can see it. Okay, I'm just going to scroll through this really quick. Okay, yeah, let me go through and let me set up a new draft now. Let me turn this on, and yeah, I'll be sending this out in the live chat. It's going to be very clear what the private draft is. It will say join Fantasy Flock's private draft, and it will ask you for $5. You'll submit $5. And let me go through and just get this set up. I'll send that link out there. I'll type to make sure everybody knows exactly what it is. Let's create this private draft. Like I said, guys, we're going to be doing this literally every single night, and we're possibly going to be doing that 24-hour live stream depending on how many people we actually get to sign up with promo code FLOCK. So please, if you get into this one, don't be too disappointed, because I promise you're going to have so many other chances. Okay, I'm going to type join our $5 draft now, and I'm sending out that link. So I just sent that link out in the general chat. I'll send that out in the Discord chat as well. Actually, no, we don't need to send that in the Discord. It's going to get filled very early on. Okay, Josh, subscribing to the channel. Thank you, Josh, my dude. And let's switch this over, because I'd imagine that this is going to fill quickly. And let's check the live chat to see if we've heard back from Nick in terms of if that was actually a 10, 12, or 14. Okay, so he says it's a 12-team league. Okay, so man, I'm essentially looking at that as you traded away Leonard Fournette for Drew Lock as your quarterback for. So if Drew Lock does start, I'm definitely going to be looking to flip Drew Lock. But as of now, I think that is a fine move. Okay, so let me go through, and Chris says, you live in Tampa and you're not out on a Saturday night. My man, I am partying on this Saturday night. I don't know what you were talking about. It's 10:30 and I'm doing a fantasy football draft. Is there anything better that you can be doing right now? Okay, so we have another donation coming out from Locust saying, hey Mason, have you seen any Irv Smith highlights this offseason? Dude is balling out every day. My man, I will say that those videos that you're getting from training camp, I really don't want to be looking at them. I don't want to be looking at them, because all it's going to do is it's going to confirm the bias that you already have with the players that you like. And I mean, it's just not going to help you whatsoever. Definitely listen to reports that are saying player X is running with the first team, player Y is running with the second team. Listen to reports about injuries. Listen to reports about what the coaches are saying in regards of playing time. But beyond that, I'm not necessarily looking at training camp videos and going, okay, my eye tells me this player made a great catch. I need to be moving him up our draft boards. I actually have a video coming out in the morning where I talk about all the training camp news up to date, and I talk about what I think is relevant and what I think is not. Okay, Bogo comes out and says, yes, I got in, Rugger 1205. Okay, I'm happy that you were able to get in, my man. Let's see where you were drafting, and we are drafting from the 106. Okay, so we have drafted from the 106 so much this offseason. I mean, literally, we're drafting from the 106 like every single time. Okay, so Christian McCaffrey at the 101. And at the 106 here, we're going to be looking Devonta Adams. I'll say it. Everybody knows it at this point. It's not like I'm having to worry about someone coming out and actually sniping us. We're looking for Devonta Adams, my wide receiver 1, and a clear tier on his own. Okay. So Bogo, let me check. Okay, so Rugger, Bogo's drafting right next to us. He's drafting at the 107. Okay, Jayan says Devin Duvernay got first team reps. My man, I did not see that. That's actually a pretty big deal. Okay, so here Uncle Drew is up. He takes Ezekiel Elliott, so we are going to be getting Devonta Adams with our first pick here. Devonta Adams, I promise you, is going to be a mid-first round pick by the time we get to the preseason, by the time a lot of people are getting in these fantasy drafts. Right now, you're still kind of getting that discount based on the Aaron Rodgers ADP and uncertainty from earlier this offseason, screwing everything up. But getting Devonta Adams at the 106 there is a no-brainer. Austin says, will this be the last draft of the night? My man, I don't know, because it's a Saturday night. Maybe we can go a little bit longer. I definitely have a lot of draft guides that I need to send out based on everybody signing up with promo code FLOCK today. So how about this? Let me say, if we finish this draft before, it's 10:25 right now. If we finish this draft before 11, we'll do another one. If we finish this draft after 11, I'm going to go through. I'm going to reply to all those Patreon messages. I still have to reply to everybody on Twitter, sending out all those draft guides. And also, I'm sure that I'm going to have more draft guides to send out that people are requesting after this mock draft. So yeah, let's draw it at 11 p.m. Eastern time. If we are done by this, we will go through and we'll get another one going. So I guess if you're in this draft right now, don't be taking too much time on the clock. Nicholas says, I got in, Mason. I'm the 103. Okay, so Nicholas right here took Alvin Kamara as fantasy focus. Okay, so let's follow Nicholas. Adam comes out with the donation, says, Superflex Dynasty, I received Jalen Hurts, 3 first-round picks, Danny Dimes for Trey Lance, Paris Campbell, and Kenny Golladay. My man, you know I am the number 1 Trey Lance supporter. I was at the beginning of the season when you had actually Trey Lance go to the 49ers, screaming that Trey Lance was in consideration as the 101 in Dynasty Superflex drafts, and I laughed at anybody considering taking Justin Fields over him. But now that you're getting Jalen Hurts, 3 future first, and Daniel Jones for Trey Lance and Kenny Golladay, essentially, that's a fantastic move, my man. I love Trey Lance, but that is a fantastic, fantastic trade. And thank you for supporting the channel, of course. Okay, so now we have some more running backs going. Jonathan Taylor, Nick Chubb, Antonio Gibson. And also, guys, if y'all have not dropped a like on this live stream by now, go down there, drop a like. It helps us out a ton. Okay, so after going Adams with the 106, of course, we would like to see a running back fall to us. It's not necessarily a must-have, though. So keep in mind, we took Devonta Adams in the first. Let's see where Jackson decides to go. He also took a wide receiver in the first. He doubles up on wide receivers, going with Calvin Ridley at the 205. Ridley, definitely someone that we are going to be drafting a ton if he's falling to the middle of the second round. Okay, so let's see where Ruggert decides to go. So this is Boggoat, as he said earlier. Okay, so now we get the opportunity to draft Joe Mixon and pair him with Devonta Adams, a running back that's going to be a 3-down guy on an offense that should be a lot better with Joe Burrow this upcoming season. So yeah, we took Adams in the first and we took Joe Mixon in the second. Now, please let me know what y'all think of that duo. Let me know if y'all would prefer the combination of Saquon Barkley instead of Devonta Adams and AJ Brown instead of Joe Mixon. Let me know what y'all are thinking there. I just think that Devonta Adams is in a clear tier of his own, even with Randall Cobb going over there. I mean, I just love Adams at the 106. Daniel said, no, I didn't get in. App forced me to do an update. Like I said, guys, I'm very sorry if you were unable to get into this draft, but we're going to be doing them every single night. And at the same time, if we finish this one before 11, which at this rate, we probably are going to, I will start a third that we can do just because it's Saturday. Rip Kobe comes out, says, my dude, what do you think about Laviska Shenault? My man, I love Laviska Shenault. We've been on the Laviska Shenault hype train. I mean, earlier this offseason, we were screaming right after the NFL draft that Laviska Shenault should have been drafted over Jerry Jeudy in fantasy drafts, which if you looked at their ADP during that time, I mean, Jerry Jeudy was going 3 rounds before Laviska Shenault. Now they're kind of going back to back, which we love to see given the fact that, I mean, you have Laviska Shenault getting the ball thrown to him by Trevor Lawrence. You have Jerry Jeudy getting the ball thrown to him by Drew Lock. So I'm all in on Laviska Shenault. I've been all in on Shenault for a very long time now. Okay, so Shane says he would have preferred us to go with Najee Harris over Joe Mixon. Honestly, no. I think that we go with Joe Mixon. I think if you're looking at Mixon, he's going to be playing in a better offense. And at the same time, I understand that he dealt with that foot injury last year. I don't think the foot injury is as severe as it appeared to be, given the fact that, I mean, he was not placed on the PUP. He was not placed on the injured reserve. We thought that Mixon was going to be coming back later in the year, and then Joe Burrow tore his ACL, and then the Bengals lost all hope, and they said, okay, we're shutting down Joe Mixon for the year because obviously there's no point in going out there and getting him all revved up for nothing. Okay, so now we are going to be up on the clock in 2 picks. Okay, so we have some great picks falling to us. Okay, so this is going to be a fantastic draft based on how this is going to go. Okay, so come on. At the 306, let's wait a little bit so Uncle Drew doesn't watch this and snipe us. He started RB, so he's most likely going to be looking wide receiver here. But we want CeeDee Lamb. Let CeeDee Lamb fall. You go CeeDee Lamb, of course. So now I am on record saying I'm not considering going Terry McLaurin over Allen Robinson. Terry McLaurin, while yes, is a very exciting wide receiver getting a quarterback upgrade, Allen Robinson is a wide receiver that's been a top 10 wide receiver over and over and over again through his NFL career with Blake Bortles, Mitchell Trubisky, Nick Foles. So now we're going to be taking, instead of the wide receiver that was a wide receiver 2 last year, expected to take a jump up, we're going to take the guy we already know is a top 10 option with horrendous quarterback play that's also getting an upgrade in Justin Fields and Andy Dalton coming in. So I'm getting Allen Robinson. I'm drafting him over Terry McLaurin every single time, which is why I'm probably not going to be drafting Terry McLaurin a lot this season. Okay, Samuel says, you lost me when you said the Cincinnati Bengals are a better offense than the... Oh, my God. My man, do y'all actually think that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be a better offense than Cincinnati this year? Am I bold in saying that? I kind of assume that was consensus at this point with Joe Burrow compared to Ben Roethlisberger without an elbow. Now, of course, you talk about Ben Roethlisberger 3-4 years ago. I mean, you're laughing at me for saying that. But I would be willing to bet that you actually have the Cincinnati Bengals for more total yards a game than you have the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I honestly don't think that's a bad bet whatsoever. So if you really think that Pittsburgh is going to be having more yards per game than Cincinnati, please hit me up because I think Cincinnati should be the favorite over that. Okay, so Adam coming out says Dobbins, Swift, Javonte Williams, a good running back core for Dynasty. My man, that's a fantastic running back core for Dynasty. We talk about Dynasty fantasy football all the time. What you want 3 down running backs on their rookie deal. That's exactly what you have. I definitely like that core for Dynasty. Okay, so it looks like, people agree with me on the Pittsburgh Steelers are a worse offense than Cincinnati. Okay, thank God people agree with me on that because I thought we were about to have a full-out war here on the live stream. Hawaiian says, why can't I deposit money on Underdog? My man, there could be a couple different things. A, you have to be 21 years old. So if you're 21 years old, then that's a big thing. B, you have to be in either Canada or the United States. I think as of now, they aren't actually having open context in Europe. So there are a few different things. I don't know what the exact answer is. So Rom coming out with a donation says, how you doing, Mason? Hope all is well, mate. Love the new setup and hope you've settled in well. Legend. My man, no, you are a legend coming out yet again. So Rom, I really hope that you are going to be jumping into some of these drafts with us in 2021, always coming out to the live streams last year in 2020 at the old setup. My man, I'm happy to see you out, and I definitely want to be going up against you in one of these drafts. Okay, so Julio Jones, Cooper Kupp going at the beginning of the 4th. Okay, so let's switch this over. We are going to be drafting in the middle of the 4th round here, and so much wide receiver value. This is kind of making me wish we went back and maybe didn't take Devontae Adams in the first because there are a ton of wide receivers that we love that are falling to us right here. Okay. So Chris Godwin does go. I would have loved to get Chris Godwin, but I mean, DJ Moore, not a bad prize to have instead. We actually have another donation coming out from Zachary. Zachary, my man, thank you, says 12-team redraft full PPR. Henry Cook are being kept. Christian McCaffrey, Alvin, and Saquon will probably go before me. Should I go Zeke, Chubb, or Aaron Jones at the 104? Okay, so in a half PPR format, what you're actually going to find is you're going to find that receptions matter a little bit less. So I think that does downgrade Aaron Jones slightly compared to a full PPR league where despite, it being full PPR or half point PPR, I definitely want to be going with Ezekiel Elliott as someone that we know is going to have more touches on a per game basis and one of the best offenses in the NFL. So I'm going to be going with Ezekiel Elliott over Aaron Jones. But if it was a full point PPR league, Aaron Jones would be slightly more intriguing. But yeah, you definitely have to go Zeke or Aaron Jones. Nick Chubb not into consideration for me there. Okay, so we have some more wide receivers going off the board. Okay, so hopefully we have some running backs falling to us later in the draft that we like because, it's going to be a tough go at it if, our only running back on this team is Joe Mixon. Okay, so hopefully we get someone in the 5th that we are comfortable with. If we look at the draft board right now at running back, these options are way down here where it looks like we're probably going to be going wide receiver, possibly. Actually, I don't know if we can go QB. Let me check our stacks. Yeah, no, we're not going to be going QB anytime soon, so it actually is probably going to be a wide receiver in the 5th, to be completely honest. Okay, Adam says, are you on the Josh Jacobs hate wagon this year? Okay, my man, I think the Josh Jacobs hate wagon is very specific. Okay, I was on the wagon back when you actually had Josh Jacobs as a 3rd, 4th round pick in fantasy, but now you have actually had Josh Jacobs falling to the late 4th, early 5th, and I think now Josh Jacobs is actually a player that you can consider drafting, especially in these underdog drafts. You're going to find that I'm drafting Josh Jacobs a lot in these underdog drafts, given the fact that you desperately need to be having touches through the entire year. At the same time, with Josh Jacobs, he is a running back that's younger than Najee Harris. Maybe I had that wrong, but he's like within the same month in terms of his birthday as Najee Harris. Still extremely young. You're getting a massive discount on him compared to where he was going even after the Kenyon Drake signing. So trust me, I was on the Josh Jacobs hate wagon earlier in the year, but when more people jumped on that wagon, I kind of had to look around and go, okay, are we getting just overboard here? So in a half-point PPR format, I definitely have to bump Josh Jacobs up slightly because the reason you don't like Jacobs is his lack of usage in the receiving game with Kenyon Drake there. But as you transition further away from PPR, Jacobs does become more appealing. Okay, so now we are going to be up in 3 picks. Of course, we wanted Travis Etienne falling to us, but it looks like that is no longer going to be an option. And I know a lot of people are probably going to be screaming at us to go with Mike Davis here. I personally am not going to do it. Maybe we would have considered Myles Gaskin, maybe, but no. I think that now when we go to the 506, it's going to be clearly a wide receiver. So let's see where Uncle Drew decides to go. So he has 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers. So he's flexible at this point where he can really go in any direction. And I will say as a quick side note, I may not draft Kyle Pitts in a single one of these drafts this entire year. I mean, Kyle Pitts, tight end that I have ranked behind TJ Hawkinson and behind Mark Andrews. And oh my God, we're going to get T. Higgins here. Y'all know T. Higgins, someone that we have been higher on compared to consensus for I don't know how long now. Getting him in the 5th round feels like a steal when you had Jamar Chase going a full round ahead of him. So yeah, now we have started this off with 4 wide receivers in Devontae Adams, Allen Robinson, DJ Moore, T. Higgins, and then our running back is Joe Mixon. Please let me know what y'all are thinking of this start so far. I know it's going to be hard to get running back later on, but I really can't be taking a Mike Davis there over a T. Higgins. I think with a Mike Davis, I mean, you're looking at a player that definitely has a capped ceiling on an offense you're not expecting to be one of the most productive offenses in the NFL, and I just can't get behind it. Okay, so now let me go through. And Luke says, went to Colts training camp today. JT was the best offensive player during the 11-on-11. My man, that's like saying I went to, I don't even, that's like saying I went to the, I don't even know where we're going with this. That's like saying I went to the Super Bowl and Patrick Mahomes was the best player. Of course, Jonathan Taylor is the best player on 11-11 at the Indianapolis Colts. I don't know what you're going to say there. Are you going to try to tell me Paris Campbell is the best offensive player for the Indianapolis Colts? No, that's not the case. I mean, probably Quentin Nelson actually is, but if you're talking about just guys that are going to be touching the ball, obviously it's Jonathan Taylor. Okay, Steven says, you made my Davis pick easy, brother. Okay, so Steven takes Mike Davis here at the 508. Shane says, do you think Higgins or Chase is a better pick in the Cincy offense? When you're getting T. Higgins around after Jamar Chase, I am drafting T. Higgins every single time. Jamar Chase, going to be a wide receiver you very rarely see me draft here. I actually think that T. Higgins is someone that we have ranked higher in our 2021 draft guide than Jamar Chase straight up. And at the same time, with T. Higgins, you're getting him at the discount. So I'm going to be drafting a lot of T. Higgins. I'm not going to be drafting Jamar Chase that often. Okay, so now if we look at the board, I mean, it looks like we may not be going with another running back. It looks like we may be having to go possibly wide receiver, possibly tight end here. And the thing is, this is really kind of making us regret our Devontae Adams pick at the 106, because if we would have gone Barkley, would have been a lot more comfortable just slamming in those wide receivers 3, 4, 5, 6, where we know those are the routes we want to be drafting wide receivers. So it looks like we're taking another, and we're just kind of have to see how it plays out after this. We're going to go with a hyper-fragile strategy, pray that Joe Mixon is able to stay healthy, but when you take Mixon in the second, you're kind of already making that bet regardless. So here there are a few players I could talk myself into, but based on the ADP and based on how many of these drafts we're going to be doing, I think that we actually do need to go with a Chase Claypool just to make sure our exposure is going to be fine when we're playing in so many leagues. And sorry guys, let me minimize my screen here just so everybody can see the entire draft board. Okay, yeah, so looks like we're taking our 5th wide receiver. And a big thing is I want to point out in this format is you actually need to start 3 wide receivers on a week-to-week basis. So I do prefer having that depth a little bit more. But after this, we definitely need to be taking a transition. We need to be looking at the other positions. And if we look through the draft, very few teams actually have more than 2 to 3 wide receivers already. I mean, here, Party only has 2. Fantasy Focus only has 1. Maddie only has 2. Andrew has 3. 3, 2, 3, 2, 2. 3, 2. Okay, so yeah, people are, I don't want to say underweight on wide receiver, but I think that we're actually going to see a wide receiver run happen very soon, and that's going to allow us to pivot over to running back. Okay, so C-Nick says you have to wait till you post it. That link doesn't work. Okay, guys, please let me know if this link that I'm posting right now for Underdog does not work. I'm going to click on it real quick to see what actually happens. Okay, that link does work. I don't know what y'all are talking about. Okay, so please let me know if the link I'm setting for Underdog hasn't been working in the live chat the entire time, because That would be very embarrassing. Okay, I hopefully, Cynic, you're just messing with me. Okay, but also, if I have not told you already, you sign up with promo code FLOCK on Underdog, you get our 2021 draft guide, you get a free $25, and this is like the only time that you're ever going to have an offer available to this with a sponsor like this on the channel. So please, please take advantage, my dudes. Okay, and guys, by the way, when we start with 5 wide receivers in the first 6 rounds, we are just having to pray that teams start to take wide receivers soon. Because here, I mean, even if wide receivers look like the best value, I guess we can go one more wide receiver, and then after that, we really have to make a pivot. I don't know if people are kind of colluding against us in this draft. But we're going to have to make... We're in the 7th round. I can't be reaching multiple rounds on wide receivers. I'm sorry, on running backs. And QB, not drafting Herbert here without a stack potential. Running back, I'm not reaching this far for a Damian. I can't take a Damian Harris, Raheem Mostert over a Cortland Sutton or Jerry Jeudy. I just literally can't do it. I don't think my body would allow me to. Dallas Goedert also rounds behind ADP. So we're going to have to take another wide receiver here more times than not. And what we're actually going to do with this build is it looks like we're only drafting 6 wide receivers. And then from there, we're just going to be loading up on a ton of running back bodies. So yeah, this is not something that I advise doing very often. I definitely think that we kind of push the envelope a little too far by once we take Devontae Adams in the first, possibly what we could have done. We're going to reevaluate this draft at the very top. We're going to go back to the 3rd round. We're going to look to see if our Allen Robinson selection was possibly a mistake, because I think that's maybe the one route where we could have gone, where we could have gotten away from this outcome. Okay, so let's see. Uncle Drew decides to take Cortland Sutton. Okay, I don't love Jerry Jeudy, but here I actually think that we take Jerry Jeudy as our 6th wide receiver, and we're not drafting a single wide receiver in the rest of the draft. And I know a lot of people are going to hate that, but it is what it is. Okay, so Zachary coming out says 7-12 Josh Allen or the 1401 TJ Hawkinson for a keeper. Personally, I'm always going to be going with the tight end, but what I will say is I'll say that if you have a lot of keepers in your league, like if this league's keeping 6 to 7 players, the actual keeper price is going to matter a whole lot less, because the player that you're going to be missing out on with the opportunity cost at the 7-12 is going to be a lot lower. So there we would possibly look to keep Josh Allen if this is a league where it's a 12-man league and you're keeping 6 or more players, where if this is a league that is smaller than that in terms of the amount of keepers that you're having, I'd actually rather go with a TJ Hawkinson. Okay. So Zach says 12-team Dynasty Happy PR. First off, my man, thank you so much for the donation to the channel. You're saying Travis Kelce plus Devonta Smith versus George Kittle plus Jalen Waddle. Which package do you prefer for a team that also has Trey Lance, Brandon Ayuk, and Will Fuller? Okay, my man, I definitely prefer going after the George Kittle side in a team that does have the potential to stack him with Trey Lance. I mean, if you go over to Patreon right now, you actually see that George Kittle's my #1 ranked tight end in Dynasty, given the fact that he's only 27 years old. I believe that he is the most talented tight end in the NFL based on the efficiency that we have had when he's been healthy so far. And I think that you actually have him attached to a quarterback that we really like more in the long term in Trey Lance compared to Darren Waller. Travis Kelce is about to be 32. So if you're looking at a 32-year-old tight end compared to a 27-year-old tight end, I think we are actually going to be going with George Kittle with the potential to stack. And the difference between Devonta Smith and Jalen Waddle is going to be minimal for us in a move like this. Okay, so I'm glad that we see this wide receiver run happen here. I mean, once we get Jerry Jeudy, what we need to see is we need to see wide receivers go off the board, or it's going to be a sad day for us. Y'all are probably going to see us cry on camera. Okay, so let's move this down. Okay, so obviously we hate to see these running backs going off because we desperately need them upcoming. So let's see what we get at the 807. Possibly we go quarterback here, but it's not going to be something that is that big of a priority. We really can't go wide receiver after we have Devontae Adams, Allen Robinson, DJ Moore, T. Higgins, Chase Claypool, Jerry Jeudy. So A.J. Dillon does go at the 806, which kind of sucks because A.J. Dillon would have been my favorite player available on the board. Now I think we actually possibly have to reach on a running back, which is the last thing I want to do. In the last running back that I actually want to reach for, but it is what it is. We put ourselves in this difficult decision. So we are going to be drafting James Robinson here in the 8th round. So yeah, we're taking James Robinson at the 807. I don't love it, but it is what it is. We need running backs. It's best ball. We don't have access to a waiver wire, so we can't fill it in on the back half. Okay, so we have some new subscribers to the channel, Ethan and King Gorda subscribing. Thank you so much for deciding to join the flock. Okay, so Zachary says, liking your draft so far, JN. I did not even notice JN was in this draft. Okay, JN goes Eckler, Jonathan Taylor, and Miles Sanders as his 3 running backs at wide receiver. Terry McLaurin with some good value. I mean, Terry McLaurin, I love him if you're getting him at the end of the 3rd, the beginning of the 4th. My problem is when he's going over here at the beginning of the 3rd over all these wide receivers. That's why I hate the Terry McLaurin draft price, because the majority of the time you're seeing him go over here alongside the A.J. Brown, Justin Jefferson. So if you get him at the 311, I do like that. Miles Sanders, like that value. JN, this may be JN's best draft I've ever seen, to be completely honest. I know we love to give JN a hard time with his drafts. I love to pick apart what I think he's done wrong, because, I mean, I like to do the same thing with myself, because I think that's the best way you can actually get better at drafting. But yeah, that's a fantastic draft by JN. Okay, so Jalen Hurts, Ryan Tannehill. Okay, so we need to see some more wide receivers going off the board. That's what we need to see, big fellas. Okay, so if we pull up this draft board, there are a few interesting spots that we can actually go. Okay, so now let me go through. Shane says, do you need to have used code FLOCK to join the pinned draft? It just takes me to the main page. My man, okay, so what we are actually doing with the pinned draft, that is just to get you signed up with code FLOCK. That way, when we go through and we set up our next draft, you do have the opportunity to go through and join. So what you're actually going to find is those drafts that we are presenting on the stream. You're going to see me say, hey guys, this is the private draft, because if you're going to the main page, you're not going to find our drafts through there. I'm creating private drafts just for the subscribers of this channel and the people in the live stream. So yeah, go through, make sure you have everything set up with code FLOCK. That way, when I send out the link in the general chat, you can go through and you can sign up like that. Because if you wait until we send out that link, then you go through, try to verify your identity and everything, it's going to be way too long of a process. Also, for you to get your $25 bonus, because I believe it takes Underdog about 3 minutes to process your $25 bonus that you get for promo code FLOCK. So yeah, that's more so just to get you signed up with everything. Okay, so now I think when we are up on the clock here, okay, Ronald Jones goes right before us. It would have been nice to get Ronald Jones. Running back, we don't have a priority now. I think we actually go and we get a stack with Joe Burrow with T. Higgins. So yeah, I think that's going to be our quarterback 1 in the 9th round. I do like that value when we needed a quarterback desperately. Taking Joe Burrow, I could have considered Aaron Rodgers instead of James Robinson, but James Robinson was coming in on one of the last running backs in that tier for me. And I'm going to be worried about missing out on a quarterback in this range, considering not that many people have their quarterback 2s yet. So yeah, I think that taking Joe Burrow there is going to be fine. Okay, Adam coming out with another donation. Thank you, my dude. And you're saying, is Eckler worth a 1st round pick this year? Okay, so yes, 100%, especially in a full PPR format. If you're in a full PPR league, I love Eckler, and not even the very end of the 1st. I would possibly be looking to take him about the 108. In a half-point PPR, he does have to slide down just slightly, but regardless, he is going to be a player that I'm looking to take in the 1st. If you're playing in a non-PPR format, then I think Austin Eckler actually does slide down to the 2nd round, but I'm assuming the majority of the people that are listening to this stream or watching this as a video, I mean, they're playing in a league that at least has a half-point PPR. Okay, also, guys, if you have not gone down there and dropped a like on the stream, please do so. And I know we have some people asking to see the full draft board, so let me show that off right now. Okay, so here we have taken a difficult path. We went Devonta Adams in the 1st, and like I said, I wanted to go back and I wanted to reevaluate this draft so far and kind of talk about something that we could improve on in the future. And I think something that we messed up with this draft is I think when we do get Devonta Adams in the 1st, while I do love drafting this wide receiver value here that we love in Allen Robinson in the 3rd round, one of my highest owned players so far, I think by taking Adams in the 1st, we kind of push up the need that we need for running back later on in the draft if we want to continue to get the values later on. So possibly when we go Adams in the 1st, instead of continuing to draft an Allen Robinson, a CeeDee Lamb, or Robert Woods, a Keenan Allen over this J.K. Dobbins tier running back, possibly we need to look to transition over to then drafting J.K. Dobbins as our running back too. So that's a change that we need to make going forward, that I think when we get Adams in the 1st, then it changes our draft strategy in the 3rd, where instead of us just hammering in wide receivers there every single time, we actually grab a DeAndre Swift or a J.K. Dobbins if they are available. But please let me know what y'all think about that, because I think if we get Dobbins here, then it's going to put us in a much better spot where we can continue to get the value that we like at wide receiver later in the draft, and we don't necessarily have to feel bad about it. But yeah, I think that was the main mistake that we ended up making in this draft, is not adjusting after we actually get our wide receiver 1 in Davante Adams, because when you get Adams, I mean, your need for a wide receiver later on is going to be a whole lot less. Okay, and please let me know what y'all think about that, guys, because like I said, I mean, your opinion is just as valuable as mine. So please shoot me a message in the live chat or leave a comment down below. Okay, JN says, kind of regret my last 2 to 3 running backs. They are on the same bye. I think that, honestly, bye weeks aren't that big of a deal. I mean, when we messed it up like we did in the other draft the other day, then yes, you definitely need to be paying attention to it. But outside of that, I'm not too worried about it. Okay, so now we have an easy selection here where we are going to be taking Noah Fant as our tight end 1 here. So it looks like we kind of have a Denver Broncos stack going at the same time with Jerry Jeudy and Noah Fant. Obviously, I'm not looking to take Drew Lock, though. I mean, I'm not looking to take Teddy Bridgewater in a format like this. Adam coming out with another donation. Thank you. Saying Chubb or Ezekiel Elliott this year. In my opinion, it's Ezekiel Elliott really easily, because you've actually seen Nick Chubb average 1.3 receptions a game both in 2019 when Kareem Hunt was healthy. If you look at the entire season, Nick Chubb actually averaged close to 3 targets a game in 2019. But if you take down the splits and you actually look with and without Kareem Hunt, it's like a night and day difference that you're seeing his usage in the receiving game, because clearly it's a committee backfield when Kareem Hunt is healthy. And then also 1.3 receptions a game again this past year. You're going to be expecting Ezekiel Elliott to be up there near 3 to 4. And at the same time, I actually really want to bet on the Dallas Cowboys offense over the Cleveland Browns offense, even though the Browns have a much better offensive line. So while I think Nick Chubb at this point in their respective careers is the more talented running back between the two, I think we are going to indeed be going with Ezekiel Elliott for fantasy. Okay, so now let's go through. Okay, so it looks like the people in the live chat, Ricky, Aaron, they both said, I agree. I think you need to go with a running back in the 3rd round when you take Devonta Adams in the 1st, because in a vacuum, I definitely do prefer having Allen Robinson over J.K. Dobbins, which we're going to continue to rank them that way in our draft guide and our rankings over there on Patreon. But I think that obviously this is what I kind of am talking about when I'm saying that we really need to try to get into 100, 200 drafts, as many as we can this offseason, which is why I'm advising you to take advantage of this offer with Underdog, because these are real drafts. These aren't mock drafts that you're going into and you're getting your league mates timing out halfway through. They're leaving the draft because they have something to do, because it's a free league. I mean, those are meaningless. They don't help you at all. But the more you do of these, the more small lessons you actually learn like that, and you can take those to your main fantasy football draft for the main league that you care about. So I really, really want to encourage y'all to go take advantage of this offer that we have. Go use promo code FLOCK on Underdog. Get a free $25 so you can hop in at least 10 of these drafts with real money on the line, and you can get a better draft experience, and you can be a better drafter going forward, where you know those kind of adjustments that you need to make, because we're learning stuff every single night. Okay, so now I think that we're going to have a pick that we have not got to make so far, and wide receivers are still great values, but the problem is we set ourselves up too poor earlier on. So now I think we actually end up going with a Trey Lance as our quarterback too. I don't love to do it, but I mean, Trey Lance is a quarterback with so much upside. We're going to go with Lance as our quarterback too. Very rarely are we getting to actually draft Trey Lance on a team. So we definitely need to be hitting in some running backs after this, especially with how fast they are drying up. But what we have to do is we just kind of have to hope that a wide receiver run happens sometime soon. Okay, I may go yell at that dog. I am going to lose my mind. I know y'all can't really hear the dog barking that loudly, but trust me, guys, it's because the audio is just right here in my ears. She is a mad person right now. Okay, ML says, Mason, what do you think about the reports that Kamara will be playing out of slot while Michael Thomas is out? I don't care about him at all. Literally not even looking at them. Okay, so I don't know if this is because we're live streaming and people kind of want to make, just make life hard on me. But all of these running backs, like a Devin Singletary, is someone that you've consistently seen go in the 13th, 14th round in every single one of these drafts. In the one draft that we do not have running backs situated early on, people push these guys up until the 11th. I think people are starting to mess with us at this point. I think that's what's going on. I mean, running backs, if you look at best available, the best available running back is down here with Alexander Madison, like 2 rounds ahead of ADP. God, the price of streaming. Guys, this better not be I'm fine if this happens in a $5 draft. When we get the $500 draft going, this better not be happening in the $500 draft. I will be losing my mind. Okay, so some more quarterbacks going. That's definitely what we want when we go with a Joe Burrow and a Trey Lance there. Okay, so bad thing is, I mean, Traquan Smith, Gabriel Davis are great wide receiver values here, but we already have 6 wide receivers, and we drafted 6 of those guys with in the first top 7 rounds. So I don't think we can be getting another one. I actually think that we need to go tight end here because running back is just completely dried up. So we're going to go Gerald Everett. We're going to be taking Gerald Everett as our tight end to attach him to Noah Fant. So far our team, I'm going to highlight this off. It's gross, but I don't see what we really could have done different besides what we already talked about in the 3rd round with Allen Robinson, because all these running back values, in my opinion, I mean, I'm not drafting a Mike Davis over T. Higgins. I'm not drafting a Trey Sermon over Chase Claypool. So we go through, we have Adams, Allen Robinson, DJ Moore, T. Higgins, Chase Claypool, Jerry Jeudy at wide receiver. At running back, we have Joe Mixon, James Robinson. At quarterback, we have Joe Burrow, Trey Lance. At tight end, we have Noah Fant and Gerald Everett. Okay, Derek says, I'm making this donation strictly to distract you from kicking the dog. My man, I would never kick the dog, but thank you. I would go yell at the dog and probably use a very stern voice, but thank you for the donation regardless, my man. Okay, so we have some more tight ends going off the board. That's what we want to see. We need to see quarterbacks. We need to see tight ends. We need to see wide receivers go off the board. Steven says, we didn't make this draft easy for you, Mason. No, you did not. Alexander Madison going off the board in the 12th round before Gabriel Davis in a best ball league. That literally makes no sense whatsoever. That's never going to happen in a regular best ball league that you see in a lobby. I mean, y'all have to be trolling me at this point. There's nothing else y'all can be doing other than just trolling me. Yeah, probably trying to work me up. Okay. So let me go through T.Y. Hilton in the 13th. Okay. Michael says, are you doing another draft tonight? No, I said if we got this one done before 11, we were going to be doing another draft, but I don't think we're going to do another one tonight. I'll try to get us 3 drafts tomorrow, though. I said we were possibly going to do 3 tonight. We only did 2, mainly because I got back from dinner late with my family. So, like I said, we have so many draft guys that we need to send out today on Twitter, on Instagram, through Patreon, through Discord. So I'm definitely going to make sure that we end this live stream early enough that I can get everybody their draft guys that have signed up to Underdog with promo code FLOCK today. And like I said, guys, if you sign up to Underdog with promo code FLOCK, literally just shoot me a DM anywhere. It can be Discord, Patreon, Instagram, Twitter. Twitter, I'm at Build the Dynasty. On Instagram, I'm Mason Dodd. On Discord, I'll send the Discord link out in a second. It should already be in the description of the live stream. And shoot me a DM there. Say, hey, Mason, this is the email I used to sign up for Underdog, just so I can confirm that you did. And then we can send that out to you tonight. Okay, so now let's go J.D. McKissick at running back. See, at running back, I can't look. These are the best available running backs. J.D. McKissick, James White, Tevin Coleman, Giovanni. Y'all had to have trolled me here. We pull up the best available wide receivers and running backs. There are like 20 wide receivers in 2 running backs. Okay, tight end, a quarterback. Do we have to take a 7th wide receiver? I think I have to just to fight back. This is not like a real draft. Like, this would never happen in real life. I'm just going to eat it, and I'm just going to say, I guess we draft J.D. McKissick here in the 13th round because we have no other option. That is very disappointing. Mike says Mason needs Devonta Freeman. Yes, sir. I do need Devonta Freeman on this team. I need anything we can get on this team. And also, I saw we passed 200 likes on this live stream. Thank you so much for everybody coming out, dropping a like. Miles with the donation says, streams and videos really help a lot, man. Don't forget about your day ones when you go big. My man, I promise you, like, if you talk to anybody over there on the Flock Patreon, I prioritize just building this community more than I do really anything else ever. I spend every second of the day trying to do everything I can, breaking down teams for y'all. And I promise you, I'm going to continue to try to do that for pretty much ever. And that's why if we get 10,000 signups with promo code FLOCK on Underdog, we're going to be going out. We'll do a 24-hour live stream, non-stop drafting, and at the same time, we'll go to a Tampa Bay Buccaneers game. How about this? I'll also buy some tickets for some flock members in Tampa. We can all sit together. Y'all may be in charge of helping me vlog it because I've never done a vlog before, so you'll be having to record us a lot at the stadium. That's what we'll do. We'll definitely get that set up. And I actually was looking at games we could possibly do it on, and it would have to be at a 3 p.m. game. A 4 p.m. Eastern game. I'm used to Central Time. And I think that there's one that they play the Buffalo Bills later in the season. I think that's probably the one that we would do it at. But of course, I got to check the numbers and see how many Underdog signups we are getting before I go through and try to make a custom flock costume. Nick says Mason draft Lil Jordan Humphrey and troll him back. My man, we just kind of had to eat it. We had to draft J.D. McKissick, even though J.D. McKissick's never going to go in that range ever again. But people in this draft to troll me, they're taking Devin Singletary in the 11th. It is what it is. They're taking Gus Edwards in the 9th. Okay, so John Brown, Hunter Henry. Okay, Nicholas says, Mason, look at my team. It was a troll. Look where I took Russell Gage. Okay, so let's look at fantasy focus here. Okay, so we went Kamara, Kittle, Keenan Allen, Jacobs, Etienne, Trey Sermon. Took Russell Gage at the 703. Okay, so honestly, I think that's I don't want to say the Russell Gage pick is good, but beyond that, I really like this draft. Russell Gage, obviously early in my opinion, but Trey Sermon, I definitely wouldn't draft Trey Sermon there over Laviska Shenault. I'm fine with the ETN. I think through 5 rounds, this was a very good team. Yeah, definitely through 5 rounds, that was a really good team. Okay, so now maybe we can go with another running back. Is there anybody? James White, Giovanni? I can't. I don't want to cry. We're not doing that. Okay, so can't take a Jared Cook. Do we have to go wide receiver? No, I think we just kind of have to take a running back. I think we have to take Phillip Lindsay. It sucks, but we got trolled this live stream. It is what it is. We're taking Phillip Lindsay at the 14th as our running back 4. I'm going to still try to continue to make the best team possible. It doesn't matter what's going on. Okay, Jayan says there are 2 teams with no tight end. Let me see if you're right on that, my man. Okay, so with Autumn here has no tight end, and I think maybe you said that right before someone took one. Okay, because I think the Autumn is the only guy with no tight end. Okay, so it's going to be interesting to see what he actually does here. He has how many wide receivers? He's taken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's already had 8 wide receivers so far. So maybe he just decides to triple up on tight end. After here, he grabs one more. What running backs does he have? He has CMC, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and James Conner. Okay, Boggoat says, curious on your thoughts on my draft. Okay, so Boggoat, if I remember correctly, was Rugger. So here in the first, Barkley, loved the Barkley value at the 107. That would have been the running back I would have taken if we didn't want Devontae Adams. DK Metcalf at the 206, like getting a wide receiver there. I would say we probably prefer having Darren Waller from a roster construction and how it allows you to avoid those running backs. Those tight ends later on in the draft that may be overvalued slightly. Then running back, I think you made the correct decision, in which we did not, where we, instead of going through and making sure we had 2 running backs by that point, you got Dobbins once we take Robinson. I like that. Godwin, the best value available. Brandon Ayuk best value available. Mark Andrews, best value available. Gallup, I don't want to say I prefer Juju, but they're in the same range. I think definitely a wide receiver is what you want there. Dylan, I think maybe, while I love Dylan, could see him as a little bit early given the fact that it's best ball. Brady, don't necessarily know if I love it. Definitely like the Matthew Stafford pick in the 10th. I guess Tom Brady, you do stack with Chris Godwin. Jamal Williams, a running back getting snaps, as well as has that upside if something were to happen. I definitely prefer getting a Jalen Waddle or Marvin Jones. Traquan Smith, love the value in the 12th. Cole Kmet, like the value in the 13th. Giovanni Bernard, don't necessarily know about it in the 14th. Okay, so let's go back through. Jordan says, what did you say people get for signing up on Underdog? Y'all are definitely trolling me, but you get a free $25 with promo code FLOCK, and at the same time, you get our 2021 Fantasy Football Draft Guide. Okay, so Zach Wilson at the 1502. So 2 quarterbacks 4 running backs, 6 wide receivers, and 2 tight ends. Okay. Marquez Valdes-Scantling. We need another tight end. We need another running back. Running backs are completely dried up. I don't necessarily think that any of these guys really stand out from each other. So possibly we look to just grab a tight end in Blake Jarwin. Wide receiver, I mean, maybe you could talk me into getting a quarterback as well. Quarterback, honestly, not too intriguing given the fact that, I mean, we are just so behind the 8 ball at running back. This team is dead because of its running backs. And what sucks is in a best ball, we can't go through and we can't backfill. Just saying, okay, well, we'll go through the waiver wire. We just can't do that. So here instead, I think we actually go and we draft a Blake Jarwin. So we're going to get Blake Jarwin as our tight end 3. From here, I think that we only draft running backs in the last 3 rounds, hoping that we just get somebody that's going to play snaps, somebody that is going to see the field. And now that I think about it, I don't think we have to worry about people trolling us in the $100, $500 league, because I don't think someone's paying $500 or $100 to troll us. I mean, it's really easy to come in and troll us if you're getting a free $25 by signing up to Underdog, and then in a $5 draft, you just throw 5 of the free $25 you got in to come take some running backs early, but it is what it is. Okay, so let's see. Watson goes at the 1507. So it is very interesting that Watson is participating with the Houston Texans right now. I don't necessarily think that Watson is going to be playing with the Texans this upcoming season, but just to know that he's cleared to participate with team practices and such is going to be notable. And it's going, okay, can this be someone that is possibly avoiding a suspension in 2021? And obviously, if that were to happen, I mean, Watson is just an absurd value at this point. Okay, Rich says, Mason, how to purchase some Flock merchandise. We're actually making Flock hats because we got so many people to sign up for Patreon. I put in an order for 200 Flock hats that I may bump up to 300 depending on how the sample looks and if I really like it. And I don't necessarily know if I'm just going to sell them. Let me rephrase that. I'm definitely not selling those 300 hats that we are ordering right now. I'm most likely going to be doing those through giveaways on Patreon, but maybe if enough people like them, then we'll look to sell them. I just don't necessarily want to deal with that right now. I mean, I would rather just continue to build the community through Patreon rather than just selling something. So yeah, I don't know if we're going to be selling merch anytime soon, but we have some fun Flock hats on the way. I'm sure that a lot of y'all that are signed up for Patreon have already seen me make posts and the screenshots of the mock-ups of the hats. I personally am excited. I'm just making them how I would like them. And if y'all like them, cool. If y'all don't, I mean, it doesn't really matter. I'm wanting to be able to wear this every day. Okay, so now let's just go to the one position, the only position we are going to be drafting from here on out. Dawson Knox goes, Damian Williams goes. So it looks like we are going to be taking James White just as a running back. Hopefully he gets some targets. Hopefully he can slide in to be a running back too whenever Joe Mixon is not playing. But yeah, that is brutal. At least our running backs mainly are all on different buys. Okay, we're also going to be hiding my video so y'all can see the entire draft board, and at the same time, I don't have to show my face next to this team. Zachary says JN is crushing this league. Okay, let's go through and let's recap JN. Okay, Austin Eckler, Jonathan Taylor at the 202. I think that is a fine value. I mean, he's right next to Antonio Gibson now with the Carson Wentz injury for me. Now Miles Sanders also at running back, Leonard Fournette as your running back 4, Chuba Hubbard as your running back. I really like this draft from JN. And then at wide receiver, you have McLaurin, Robbie Anderson, Chark, Fuller, Corey Davis, Terrace Marshall, Emmanuel Sanders. And then at tight end, Tyler Higbee, Hunter Henry. Yeah, this is by far and away JN's best draft. I think JN may have the best team in this draft, in my opinion. That is a fantastic start. Mike says Mason just donated his money to JN. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's exactly what we did in this draft. And Mike says Aaron says still haven't pulled the 101. No, I have not had the luxury of taking Christian McCaffrey yet in one of these drafts. I mean, we are waiting for it. We are praying for it. But for whatever reason, it doesn't matter how many of these we fire up. We're not going to get the 101 apparently. And also, guys, we are about to pass 250 likes on the live stream. If you have not dropped a like on it yet, please make sure you go down there and do so. Okay, so Carson Wentz does go at the 16-12. Let me see what quarterbacks were still available. I definitely don't think we could. Yeah, I can't take a Carson Wentz over a Derek Carr or a Ben Roethlisberger or a Jared Goff, honestly. I mean, I can't take a Carson Wentz at this point, who I think already has kind of a limited ceiling. I can't be taking him over quarterbacks that we know are going to be starting all 16 weeks. Okay, so the autumn, at least we know that my $5 isn't getting donated to JN, because here the autumn wind did not take a tight end in this entire draft. They drafted 4 quarterbacks and no tight end and 3 running backs. Okay, so this team is completely dead right here. This is what a dead team looks like. At least mine has a fighting chance, where we went and we had to just claw our way back at the running back position. But yeah, the autumn wind is dead in the grave right here. Okay, so Jameis Winston. Okay, so now let's go back to the running back position, the only position that we are taking from here. And I think we just go get Kenneth Gainwell. I know his name is Kenny Gainwell on here, but his real name is Kenneth Gainwell. Don't know why he's being called Kenny. I mean, we essentially just need a running back that could potentially get targets, someone that, I mean, as of now is highest in ADP. I don't like the value, haven't drafted him so far, and he is going to be, I believe, our running back 6 here. And we possibly draft more running backs than wide receivers in this draft, unless we really want to just stick it to a roster construction we like and we get one more wide receiver. Yeah, and JN says, what a waste of a CMC team. Yes, sir. The autumn wind, I am sorry to be an ass here, but this team is just dead in the grave. In a best ball format, you can't be drafting one tight end. Literally, the math doesn't. I don't even need to give an explanation behind that. You just can't. Zachary says auto pick ? I think that Underdog actually won't let you auto like this. I mean, if you don't have a tight end by the time you get to this point, I think that you are just going to end up getting a tight end regardless. Maybe if you set your queue all wacky and then leave, that's a possibility, but I'm unsure. Okay, so now let's go through and see what's going. Okay, Rich says, Mason, how do I purchase some Flock merchandise? I already went through and explained that, my man. I don't know if we're going to be selling Flock stuff directly. Maybe we give some Flock hats out as giveaways through people who signed up for Underdog with code Flock. That's also a possibility. I'm really just waiting until I get that in-person sample of those hats that we ordered, so I know the quality of them and how many more I want to be ordering, because if they're really high quality, I'm fine ordering. I mean, just say 5. I mean, I'll probably order 1,000 just so we can have, at the very minimum, 1 to give to everybody over there on Patreon. But I really want to just make sure that it's a hat that I'm proud to send out, to be completely honest, because not only am I having to buy the hats, but at the same time, I'm going to have to go through, I'm going to have to do all the shipping. So if I'm going to be shipping out 1,000 hats, that with some quick math is going to be very, very, very expensive. And at the same time, it's going to take a ton of my time. So it just kind of got to wait to see what we're going to be doing there. I don't know if we're going to be selling any of them directly, probably just doing them through Patreon. Okay, so now I see that we have Michael coming out yelling at us about Rashad Penny. My man, you know I love Rashad Penny. I just made a video about Rashad Penny on our Dynasty channel as one of my highest owned players in Dynasty. Now, I think actually we either take a wide receiver or a running back here. The problem is, I mean, you look at this draft board, trolls kind of came in. They soaked up the running backs after we went wide receiver early, and we had no shot after players like Devin Singletary were going in the 10th round. So yeah, I think that possibly we actually just go with a wide receiver like a Dwayne Eskridge, someone that was drafted in the 2nd round of this year's NFL draft. And at the same time, he's attached to Russell Wilson. So yeah, I think possibly we just go get a Dwayne Eskridge as our wide receiver 7 with our last pick, even though, I mean, who would we have gone with at running back? Javion Hawkins? No, yeah, we're going Dwayne Eskridge. Maybe that's a mistake. Maybe we need to have more than 6 running backs on this build, which most likely we do, but it is what it is. This is not going to be a regular draft. This is a $5 draft that I think we're going to have less people coming out here and pulling this off when we get into those $100 drafts. Maybe we'll do a $100 draft tomorrow night, depending on the kind of demand that we have for it. Okay, so thank you, my dudes, for coming out to this live stream. Of course, if y'all enjoyed it, please go down there and drop a like. And actually, wait 1 second. Let me show this draft board off. And I really need to get y'all a link to our free fantasy football group chat. This is a free chat where you do not need an email. You do not need a credit card. You just click the link, you choose a nickname, and then you are in to the draft and good to go. Let me show off this draft board real quick before we decide to send that out and end the stream. And yeah, so guys, please, I encourage you to go through and to join our free fantasy football group chat. And there's, I believe, over 4,000 people in there. I really don't know right about now. And also, if you signed up with promo code FLOCK today, make sure through this group chat, you shoot me a DM because I'm going to be spending the next 30 minutes just sending out a ridiculous amount of 2021 draft guides. We're going to be doing a ton more drafts leading up all the way until the season. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel, sending out our free group chat right now in the chat. I'm going to spam it over and over and over and over and over again so you don't miss it. Okay, sent. Okay, so we sent that out. My dudes, thank you so much for coming out to the live stream. And I hope to see y'all with the video tomorrow where we are going to be talking about some updated training camp news. And like I said, because we're streaming every night, we're also uploading videos every morning. YouTube's most likely not going to be recommending our videos in our live streams as they were before. So you have to make sure you're subscribed. You have to make sure you're dropping likes on videos, or YouTube's going to kind of kill the channel and the algorithm with the amount that we are uploading. So thank you, my dudes, for coming out. And yeah, that's all I got. And have a great day.